everybody. Welcome to the training, learning, and development community. Is it Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, isn't it? Happy Wednesday. Happy Health Day to all of you. Oh, man. I think time has just been crazy lately. Hopefully everybody is enjoying their week so far. And let's see. We've got a few people in. I saw Judy's here and Christiana. Who else do we have? I saw Rick in the audience. Thanks for joining today. Today we have another member showcase, and we're talking to Victoria Gerstorfer. So, and probably one of the funner things about these is that I get to do a little bit of research beforehand on the person, and so no big deal. I mean, I saw you on Goodreads, and I know your reading history, and I saw you on Etsy. But mostly, we're going to be talking about instructional design and learning experience design, and your career is in learning and development. So, 30 minutes. I've got so far 11 questions, and we just want to get to know you better. So,
okay.
So here we go. Yeah. Okay. Let's start with this one. So how did you get your start as an instructional designer? And you've been doing this for a while.
I've been doing this for about 17, 18 years now.
Wow.
I was found actually by the man who became my mentor. He was the director of an IT department for a school district. And I was in college at the time studying to be a therapist of all things. And did some, while I was going to school, did some part-time data entry work for him. And he asked me for the program I was doing the data entry, do you think you could teach the rest of the staff how to use this? Because you're the only one that knows how to use it now. And I thought, yeah, sure, why not? And I put together a training and had no idea what training and development was or instructional design. And he said, yeah, I think I want you to join my team full time because you're going to be our trainer. And I was like, I don't know what that means. And he kind of taught me about instructional design and about training. And I became the liaison between like the rest of the school district and the IT department and our curriculum department, and started just creating trainings for everyone and learning it on the job, and then took some certifications, and here I am.
Wow. So it was an IT person that started you on this journey, and it was at what kind of a school was it? K through 12?
It was K through 12 school district in Plainfield, New Jersey, actually. And he was just a visionary. And later, I mean, to this day, if I have any questions about things or need some opinions, I can call him up. He saw it in me. And knew how he wanted his department to be formed because it was on the rise, and didn't have anyone to train. And I became their trainer. We then had a team, but I was the lead trainer, and we did all of the training in the district, any software training. And then from there, I went into some more soft skills and professional development training and just designing.
Wow, that's fascinating. Very, very. What kind of content did you? What were the first types of things that you had to build?
I remember the first course I built for him at the time, and I'm going to date myself now, but a group of people within the district had all received, the administrators, they gotten new BlackBerries, and they needed a training to teach the administrators how to use these BlackBerries. And I remember this because I had an actual camera taking a picture of the BlackBerry screen, and then I would upload that to my computer, and those were my screenshots because there was no way else to do it. That was the first training I created, was how to like send email on your BlackBerry. And all I did was thought about, well, I don't know how to use a BlackBerry either. So let me think about what I would want to learn. And I, structured it that way. And we just went from there, and it kept going. It was pretty awesome.
That's great. That's great. I mean, even back then, if it were like 17 or so years ago, even back then, just having a camera was still kind of a big deal, a digital camera, I think.
Yeah. It was all of the IT stuff. It was all of his equipment. He always had the latest equipment. But and I did it with like the plug and play, and I plugged it right into the computer, and the images were so horrible, but they worked, and we, just kept going from there.
That's great. Wow. And then you were an instructional designer. That's really, really cool.
And then I was an instructional designer.
It looks like you've done, so you worked in higher ed. You also have done corporate work. Have you done any nonprofit work? I was looking at your background. I wasn't quite sure.
So the company I'm working for right now, 4A's, we have a division that's nonprofit, and I also do some work with that. And then I've also done some work on the side for a friend of mine who has her own nonprofit business with, just teaching people she just created a course on how to be an instructional designer or how to write curriculum, and helping her out with that a little bit, and teaching people how to make their training a little bit more engaging. So
cool.
Yeah.
All right. So give me some pros of working in higher ed, and then I'm going to ask for some cons.
That's going to be the fun one. Pros of working in higher ed. I think you definitely learn structure. You definitely learn structure. You have to follow the process. So you learn the ins and outs of the process. If I didn't understand ADDIE before working in higher ed, I definitely understood it extremely well when leaving. I think you also learn a lot about copyright laws. We had to know that. You get a crash course in branding. I never realized how important branding is, and it actually worked out well for me because now working in more of a marketing industry, it's super important. But higher ed taught me the ins and outs of branding and the difference between, one shade of red and another shade of red, and how important it really is. I think you also it's nice because when I worked in higher ed, there was a huge team of us. That we had our whole department, probably about 25, 30 people, which you don't often see working in L&D. Sometimes you're by yourself. So you learn a lot about teamwork. You learn a lot about working with other people and working on a project, working on one part of a project and possibly passing it off to someone else. So teamwork and structure, I think.
Interesting. And so how about the cons?
The cons would be the process. Higher ed, you are stuck to that process. You have to adhere to it. There's a lot of red tape you have to go through. So a lot of stagnation when you want to move on something, you can't always. Just a crazy approval process. I mean, I think our approval process, we had like 4 or 5 different set of approvers, and then we worked with editors. So you don't really have the ability also to be as creative, I think, as you can be in corporate or in the private sector. So that for me was a huge con. But it was still fun. It was still fun.
Can you speak to any pros and cons on working for a nonprofit at all?
I think the biggest pro for me with doing the nonprofit work is you just feel really fulfilled. Like, I already love what I do. But you get another sense of like you're doing something for the greater good. And you feel like you've accomplished something at the end of it. So we typically celebrate once a program is released, or, we get something done. We celebrate pretty big because we work so hard. And I think the con is just that you're working really hard. I was joking with a friend of mine, and I said, doing this nonprofit work with the company I'm with now is probably the hardest I've ever worked. And she said, does that mean you didn't work hard before? And I said, no, I worked hard before. This is just harder. You're just busy, but it's nice because everyone is just as busy as you are. So whereas I've been in situations where I'm the only busy one and everyone's kind of like, all right, see you later. Everyone is putting 110% into the work. So we work hard together as a team, and we celebrate as a team.
And that's really important for you now, having that feeling of something for the bigger good type of thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think one of the things that I believe has made me so effective in what I do and just really good at my job is I care about the end user. So like when I worked in K through 12, I felt like it was really difficult dealing with, teachers and administrators and secretaries and all different types of staff because, they're dealing with so much and they'd be under stress oftentimes. But what always got to me was, all right, if I can make their job a little bit easier by teaching them how to do their job, maybe they'll be less frustrated and they'll treat someone else a little kinder. So that's always been my goal with any training I create, with any training I facilitate, any program I'm designing, is just how is this going to be easier for the end user, for the learner, and what's the best way for them to actually learn something. And so for me, that is the win. And knowing that I've done something that has made their day a little bit better or made their job a little bit easier or more manageable.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it feels like universally, like the instructional designers and just the L&D folks that I have, especially in this community and the showcase, that's a general feeling I get. A lot of them are in it because they want to just help people,
Yeah.
and just interested in helping others become a better version of themselves. And
Yep.
I guess I'm not surprised, but at the same time, it's just like basically it's really, really, really universal. So at 4A's right now, what kind of projects are you working on?
We are focusing. So 4A's is like a trade association for all marketing and advertising companies. And I'm working on, we just actually released a program that's going to help marketers. We're calling it enlighten their campaign process. So what that means is at every step of, the process that you go through to create an ad or, the commercials we see, making sure that they're inclusive, that they've thought about it and they've gotten some feedback so that these campaigns on the outside are enlightened. So that's one major thing I'm working on. We also have a huge intern program this year. We call them fellows. We have like 490 fellows. So in each one of these fellows is assigned a coach. So I just created a supervisor training program. They're called supervisors, a training program to teach them how to interact with interns and what they should be doing and things to remember, because for a lot of us, it's been a long time since we were a newbie and we forget. But especially in this post-COVID world, whatever we want to call it, we're living in this pandemic world, working virtually. It's a lot of changes and a lot of things to take into account. So that itself is turning into an even bigger project. It's a 6-week manager course I'm creating for new managers, or people, from 0 to 5 years experience in this industry in particular, that's going to talk all about, how to manage virtually, how to manage creatives, because I think being an L&D, we can all probably agree that sometimes when you're really creative, your manager doesn't always understand that if they're not a creative, and you can bump heads. So that's a big issue we want to tackle. And also just how to kind of change our mindsets to be a little bit more growth mindset. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited about that.
Nice. So how many people on your team?
Our smaller team, we call ourselves the pod team. There are 4 of us. And then the company itself, there's only like 40 people, 42 maybe. But we have a small team, 4 of us, and we get so much accomplished. We work really hard, but we get a lot accomplished.
Wow. And that many interns or fellows. That's
well, we partner with another part of us. So that team has 6 people. So total working on that intern program, there's like 10 of us. It's a lot, and it's a great program, to give them a start. And I think we have like a 92% rate that these people actually get placed into jobs when they leave the program, which is awesome.
Nice. So I've got like kind of more of a personal question here. That painting behind you, both Kim and Christiana are like, what is that?
Let's see, I can show it. It's a beautiful painting. This is a painter out of Ohio. His name is Parrish Monk. And I loved it because it's a woman dancing in the rain, wearing a red dress. I love the rain and I love to dance. And we actually purchased this last year. My fiance and I decided we wanted to try to support artists and small businesses, but primarily artists, who were really just suffering during COVID. And we bought 2 of his paintings, actually. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful painting. It's oil. So his name is Parrish Monk.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that with us. Okay, guys, I know we've got Kim is actually from Ohio, so I'm sure that that's an extra there. So director of learning experience design, what's your day-to-day like? What do you got going on from
Well, day to day, I get up and I walk my 2 dogs, ride my bike, and then start the day, make some coffee, start the day. It is usually, we have a virtual team meeting every day at 12, which you would think is excessive, but it's really not, because we're not always talking about work. Sometimes we're just hanging out and talking about what we're binge watching. But
of course,
sometimes you need that, you need to just decompress. But I try to spend my mornings actually working on projects. So I'm not even really checking email. I might glance at it early when I first start. And if there's nothing urgent, I'm out of that and I'm going in and I'm creating. I
Yeah.
am working on, whatever it is I'm coming up with, whether it's a design doc for this or going in and actually being in my creative space. And then when we have our daily meetings at 12, from that point on, I usually schedule meetings, and I'm usually in a lot of meetings because we have so many things going on. But it's not bad because my company is really good about creating working meetings and brainstorming together. We do it really well. And then from there, it's just kind of like trying to find more space to create. Sometimes I get up and go for a walk, or I'll get on the bike again to find some inspiration. I might sit down and watch. I have my guilty pleasure that helps me like laugh and take myself out of something when I'm getting too deep is Family Feud snippets on YouTube. I love it. I just watch them and I laugh, and that keeps me going during the day because it's just you can't not laugh at it. You just can't. So yeah, I watch a bunch of those, or I just really like just go outside and get some air, sit outside for a little bit, and then get back to it. Sometimes, we're really flexible with our schedule. So if the weather's good, I might go for a hike and take an hour or two, and then come back and just work longer. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's good stuff. So when you're talking about creativity, what is your creative focus?
What do you mean as far as like different what I'm doing when I'm creating things? Like
Yeah. When you are being creative, do you paint, or are you a writer, or is there
I
anything?
like puzzles.
Yeah.
I'm a puzzle person, and it's so funny. I have like all types of logic puzzle books near my desk. On my phone, there's an app that has like 10 different puzzles you can do a day. I even have a little, I'll show you because I have it right here on the desk next to me, a little wooden block puzzle that I just got
Ooh,
kind of put together.
nice.
So I just play
Oh,
with that and put puzzles together. Sometimes I don't put them together the way they're supposed to be done. Um, like with that one, I'll just make things. I do a lot of 3D puzzles. So I've done like the Game of Thrones 3D puzzles, and we have actual 3D castles of the Game of Thrones in the house because those were an accomplishment.
wow.
Yeah, that is my not really painting. It used to be when I was younger, like writing poetry and stuff, but it's kind of like I'm writing so much during the day. I don't want to write when I'm not working. So
Yeah.
probably doing a puzzle, or maybe hanging out with the dogs, or doing some kind of sport. Like I'll go to the gym and doing something creative there.
Yeah, that's cool. Very cool. So what do you like most about being a learning experience designer?
I think the room to be creative. It's kind of like the title makes you think, oh, this is a really creative person. So you're expected to have these new ideas and be really innovative and to be colorful, which is great because there have been a lot of times where it's like, okay, dial the color down a little bit. This is too over the top. But with learning experience, it's just it's kind of expected, and I think you get to focus more on the learner's experience, on what's going to make it good for them. So if that means incorporating some music, if that means changing up the format and doing bite-sized sessions instead of a full session, we get to do that, and or I get to speak on it and everybody has to listen. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
So it's just the variety that is kind of nice for you.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It doesn't feel as, I mean, it's virtually the same as an instructional designer, kind of, but it doesn't feel as restrictive, you know?
Uh-huh. Mhm. I would love to get like a general opinion on that from other like instructional designers versus learning experience designers, because it's still kind of the separation of both is still a little confusing to me. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's very cool. How about some things that you wish you had known when you had first started out in your career that you know now?
Man, I wish that I knew, you know, all of the different components of L&D, that there's more to just, more to it than just training and
Yeah.
more to it than just design. I wish I knew there's a really interesting what was like a workshop I went to a few years ago on like neuroscience and developing training, and I wish I known that all of these things connect, and it's okay to play around with that, and it's okay to look deeper into that and to really, you know, go think outside the box a little bit more, you know, but being new to it and me being still kind of in like a therapist mindset, you know, I was almost there getting ready to, you know, graduate and get prepared to, you know, start getting into the therapy field. I was a little bit more, I think, restrictive on myself. I was way more strict in how I design things. And I said, okay, this is the format, this is what we're going to do. I wish I'd known then, know that the best part of this is playing around with it and thinking outside of the lines.
Interesting. So that is kind of unique. The sort of the therapist piece in your background. Do you think that's helped you in your career in
Yeah,
L&D at all? Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. Because, you know, one of the things is funny, when I was in college, I wanted to take like all of my psych classes first, and I kind of did. And then one day the counselor came and said, okay, now you need to take like math and science.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to do that. And that's around the time when I discovered this, and I was like, yeah, I think I want to do this instead. But you learn to analyze situations. You learn to really sit back and observe a lot. But before you speak or before you act, and you also learn how to analyze certain behaviors and analyze other things. And I think it's helped me tremendously when I'm creating something, especially when someone comes and says, I need a training. And I'm like, okay, well, what's the need we're trying to address?
Yeah.
And we do this needs assessment and realize this is not what you want. Maybe you want something a little bit different. But I think it's helped me have patience with clients. And it's helped me when I'm facilitating to be able to read the room, read the crowd, and switch gears when I need to, and also be able to analyze, you know, what's happening, what the audience needs, and if there's anything else that's going on. And for those moments where they want to kind of unload on you for a minute, which a lot of our learners want to do when they first come to class, it's given me patience with that, and kind of taught me how to react to it instead of giving into it, just reacting a little bit and then moving the class forward, you know?
Wow, that is great. I don't think I've heard that from anybody else that might have a background, you know, even in psychology. Yeah, I can see how that would be really, really, really useful. That might have to
Yeah.
be something we'll have to explore in other
Yeah.
conversations here within the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Christiana's saying, observation is key. I'm so glad you brought it up. Neat way to connect your background.
Yeah.
So who or what keeps you inspired?
I think just there are several people that I've met along the way. One in particular, so I told you, the man who was my mentor, and then there's another woman who actually brought me into the marketing field, and she is like, it's so inspiring to me. You know, I look at, and she does these white pages, and she was written up, had to write up on her in Forbes, and just to know her, she's just such a down to earth person. And she's so creative. I actually just got off the phone with her before this and told her what I'm doing. And she's like, oh, I want to join. How do I log in? And I'm like, no, you're going to make me nervous. But she's really inspirational because she has such a crazy story. And I just see how she's kind of turned it around, and what she does and how much she cares about other people is just absolutely incredible. So she inspires me a lot. Also, I have a really tight group of friends. You know, I have 2 sisters and 2 nieces, and we're all very close, and like 2 best friends. And just knowing, you know, that they kind of admire me for what I'm doing and push me to go forward. So it all adds to it.
Wow, that's really, really good. Yeah, yeah, I like the whole thing about having like that close group of people that help kind of keep you, that support you and all that. And then even your relationship with having like a really, really strong mentor, has a huge impact on your life.
Yeah.
Do you mentor anybody yourself, or have you formed any of those types of relationships?
I have. I worked on a project for a few years down in South Carolina, and 2 of the ladies I worked with down there, one was new to L&D, and one had kind of dabbled in it. And I taught her a lot. I taught both of them, you know, so one of them is the one who actually started this business now, where she was a social worker, and now she's teaching social workers how to write their own curriculum. but so she'll call me up and ask for my opinions and ask for help, and I mentor her through a lot of the situations. And then the other one, I mentored her kind of more so like in the technical aspect, and we still speak often to get opinions. But actually, probably my biggest or most important protege, I'll call him right now, is my fiance. He was a science teacher for years, and decided, let me try this, and I brought him into the L&D world, and he went in a completely different direction. He got into more LMS administration and still doing some training in that. So we have a lot of talks about learning and just the way adults learn, and the technical aspect of what we're doing in technology. So we do like our little check-ins, I'll call them, where we're like, okay, we're not fiancés right now. Right now, we are just colleagues, and let's talk about, like, he's making building a portfolio for himself right now. So I'm like, okay, I have to check it. I want to check it and see how it is, and he'll ask for my opinion, and it's actually really cool. It's really cool.
Well, he's really, really lucky. I would. Yeah. All right. Well, we're almost done here. We've got just a few more minutes. I got a couple more questions for you. If there's one thing that people should know about you, what is it?
I love to laugh. I absolutely love to laugh. I laugh in awkward situations, and I apologize for it later, but it's just because I think that life is very funny. My life is, so many interesting things have happened, and I feel like, you know what, somebody somewhere is laughing, whoever's designing this is, and so I'm just going to laugh with it. I absolutely love to laugh. I think it makes you younger. I think it helps with creativity. It helps with just everything, and it just makes you feel better. Sometimes when I'm in a hard workout, I talk to myself and make myself laugh, because I'm like, this is so terrible. Why am I doing this to myself? And then I laugh, and the gym laugh with me. So yeah, I absolutely love to laugh.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I'm kind of, my family is that kind of a group, is where we tend to just love to get together and just crack up on everything we can, because you're right. It absolutely does feel good. All right. So I got last question for you. And it's because I mentioned the whole Goodreads thing earlier. Christiana wanted to know, what book are you reading right now?
Right now, I am reading, it's called, I'm looking at it because I couldn't remember, A People's History of the United States.
Okay.
And it's very interesting. Very interesting. So I typically read something and also listen to an audiobook at the same time. And so I just finished, there's this whole series of like this female detective in the UK during like the 1920s. So it's like all royalty, and it's pure enjoyment. Like, I don't get anything out of it, but it's really good, and everyone teases me. But I can't even think of the name of it, but it's a great series. And
that does sound really, really good.
Yeah, she's like a cousin of like the king or the queen or something in like 1922 or something, and she's a detective, but only by chance, because she's actually nobility. So it's really interesting. It's really funny. They're like beach reads, but I listen to them when I'm washing the dishes and stuff or doing other things. But a reading is, People's History of the United States. So far, so good. Very interesting.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I finished it, but I definitely, I know that I had that book for a while, and I remember carrying it with me because I was just like so interested in it.
Yeah, it's enthralling.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Victoria, thank you so much for spending this 30 minutes with me and letting us learn more about you. Is it okay if I paste your LinkedIn profile into the chat so that people can connect with you?
Absolutely.
There we go. So there's Victoria's link. Thanks for helping support TLDC. And if there's anything at all that I can do for you, just let me know. Happy to help with your endeavors. Anything that you might need with 4As, just message me. And that's what we're here for. And everybody I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I would love that. And I'm going to take you up on that, I think. So.
Okay. Yeah, totally. And don't forget, everyone, AIDC 21, that's next week. I just checked about half an hour or right before this, and we've got 507 people registered for that event. So the Accessible and Inclusion Design Conference, Inclusive Design Conference, register and go. And even if you can't go, just register so you can get the recordings. Everybody needs to learn this stuff. And like Judy says, can't wait. It's going to be really, really good. All right, you guys. Thanks so much. And we'll see you next time. Thanks again, Victoria.
No
All right,
problem. Take care.
bye-bye.